The other day, as I was going about my business, a jazz standard popped into my head. The song was George Gershwin's Our Love Is Here to Stay. Believe it or not, the song sheds some light on today's energy dramas, which have become as intense as any telenovela or Puccini opera. It's safe to say that central power stations and the grid are here to stay, even though many of those who rely on them for their personal survival and their business model often wish that in time they may go. Distributed resources in some form or another are here to stay. Increasingly aggressive and sweeping environmental regulations, lower costs for clean energy generation, aging infrastructure, penetration of smart devices, greater customer empowerment, these are all realities that also appear here to stay. Yet few predicted the shale revolution, the death of coal, flat demand for electricity, widespread penetration of renewables, and so on. Trying to provide a snapshot of the future, as I've been asked to do today, with some prescriptive elements is a daunting prospect. And prognosticators have the accuracy rate of professional soothsayers in strip malls. But I will do my best in hazarding some guesses about what may be in store for all of us, and I'll attempt some riffs, some variations, as it were, on our Gershwin song. Solar, wind, and gas constitute most new build in the U.S., and market forces, customer demand, and low natural gas prices are all, of course, contributing to decarbonization. The rise of distributed resources, natural gas, and renewables at the expense of nuclear, coal, and hydro appears to be the path on which the U.S. is continuing. This month last year, gas overtook coal in its share of U.S. power generation for the first time in U.S. history. With coal on death watch and little or no new nuclear in the U.S., gas will likely replace an enormous amount of our current baseload power. Indeed, worldwide over the next decade, more gas will likely be installed than any other power source. Non-sexy forms of generation still account for the largest share of our U.S. portfolio, so let's not forsake Mr. Tried and True and Reliable as we go forward. Let's not abandon diversity for the next shiny new thing. Stranded investments, obsolescence, impacts on system reliability and the like, these must, to my mind, be foremost on our minds. Thankfully, the nation has gone from one diverse mix to another diverse mix over the past 8 years. As Donald Trump put it, I hate to quote him, I love China. We often, don't lose your lunch, we often look to California for some indication of the future, but China has an enormous influence on energy worldwide. From 2002 to 2012, China drove a majority of global energy demand and nuclear and coal generation. Going forward, its growth will be less energy intensive, and new capacity in China will include hydro, renewables, and nuclear at the expense of coal. China's economic slowdown has reduced demand for oil, contributing mightily to that historic collapse in its price. We all know that China's solar PV manufacturing sector drove down PV costs dramatically. And China is installing solar at a record pace. In 2014, China added more solar and wind than Europe and the United States combined. 800 to 1,000 gigawatts of new renewables or new nuclear are scheduled by 2030. And the ripple effects of these policies will be deeply felt and long-lasting. Arguably, no other nation affects our energy future more than China, and we should look east for a vision of that future. Innovation is everywhere, and everything is interconnected. Decentralized and centralized, disruptive and traditional technology, markets here and abroad, none is isolated from the other. Intermittent distributed energy will, of course, continue to affect the grid profoundly, and will affect other resources as well, for instance, storage or ramping capacity. Together, solar and energy storage can indeed go a long, long way. Moreover, will the water and energy sectors work together to a greater degree, as they well should? The utility must redefine its mission as it partners with consumers and third-party providers. How will it adapt to a consumer-driven model? Allegedly, the average customer spends just a few minutes a year pondering his or her utility. Will new consumer choices change this level of interest in a dramatic way? Old rate structures and aging infrastructure must try to keep up with technologies that are mercurial and decentralized. Will we regulators develop rates that support seamless grid upgrades and allow seamless integration of new technologies without impairing reliability? What will the utility's core services be? Will it be a network manager and aggregator? As more points of entry proliferate, mustn't it aggressively pursue better data analytics and cybersecurity expertise? since there are so many more points of entry for hackers and evildoers? Will the utility remain an anchor in an increasingly dispersed system, especially in the minds of consumers with whom it has had a long relationship? It's been said that in terms of relationships, we have a choice in life: to be lonely or to be irritated until death do we part. All of us in the energy arena are in this together, in securing an affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy future. And we'll go a long, long way, I think, if we recognize this key fact. We'll continue irritating each other until the very end, and our irritation, if not our love, will be here to stay. But a bright energy future will be well worth it. Thank you so very much. And thank you, Lisa.